Stop scrolling. Do not assume you discovered this by coincidence. The architecture of the divine contains no algorithms, random clicks, or coincidences. Your finger was directed to this particular location at this exact time because your soul sent out a signal, a desperate, quiet plea that was recently answered. A deep part of you, the part you keep hidden from the public, has been asking when. When will the fight end? When will my purpose be revealed? When will the agony make sense? You're here because heaven has organized this encounter. This is more than simply a video. It is a heavenly appointment, a spiritual intervention designed to draw you back from the verge of defeat. The pressure you feel, the sensation that something big is going to happen in your life, is not your imagination. It's the physical tension of fate pulling back its bow, and you, my friend, are the arrow. What you're going to hear will not only connect with you, it will also reveal the very fabric of your reality, confirming every peculiar emotion, unexplainable pull, and moment of great loneliness you have experienced on your journey. This is the sign you've been hoping for. Before delving into the center of this holy communication, it is critical that we harmonize our energy. Pause. Just one pulse. Inhale deeply, then exhale to let go of the chaos of your day. Let go of the deadlines, the fears, the views of others, and the weight of your personal expectations. Allow your mind's frenzied commotion to quiet, making way for your soul's whisper to become a roar. In this peaceful moment, I invite you to engage in a simple yet profoundly impactful act of spiritual assertion. Go to the comments area right now and enter the one hope, dream, or desperate plea that lies deep inside your heart. Do not do anything to get likes or attention from others. Do it for you. Do this as an act of release or purposeful proclamation. Writing it down means you are commanding rather than hoping. You are manifesting the ethereal energy of a dream, triggering a spiritual rule that requires the universe to respond. Seal this act with a number sequence that represents divine alignment and miracles, 777. This simple act communicates to the divine that you are prepared, attentive, and actively involved in your own rescue. Now, let this message to wash over you since it contains the codes for your future chapter. Listen carefully, chosen one, and let this truth shatter a lifetime of confusion. What you are now experiencing is not punishment. It is precise. The delays, diversions, and doors that have slammed shut in your face are not evidence that you are incorrect, but definite confirmation that you are fundamentally correct. You're being polished, not dismissed. You were never designed to follow the crowd. Your spirit has a distinct frequency, and your heart beats at a different cadence. You were not created to think like everyone else, respond like everyone else, or seek solace in the things that calm the majority. This is precisely why your trip has been a maze of perplexing twists and turns, a narrative that defies logic. The world runs on a cause and effect basis, with logical and predictable conclusions. However, the divine world, from which you originated and to which you are being summoned, functions on a much deeper principle, holy time. And right now, as these words reach your soul, there is a cataclysmic change in timing. You felt it, right? That weird and disturbing sensation in your psyche. It is not the frenzied buzzing of worry, but rather a deeper, more profound hum. It seems like the air is becoming thick with possibility, as if the space surrounding your existence is tightening and pressurizing, not to crush you, but to make a diamond. It's like a giant bow being pulled back farther and further, the tension rising to an almost intolerable level. You are that bow, and you don't stand still. You're being positioned. You are becoming more aligned. And you must realize one crucial truth: alignment seldom feels peaceful at first. True divine connection frequently feels like agitation before uplift. It feels like friction. It feels as if your entire world is being shaken up, as everything that is out of sync with your future must be brought to the surface in order to be healed or released. Relationships that previously seemed like homes now feel like prisons. Conversations that were once stimulating now feel depleting and lifeless. Your living space, your work, and possibly even your city all feel suffocatingly tiny. The old coping strategies, the patterns of conduct you created to survive your past, suddenly feel like obstacles to your growth. These are not setbacks. Do you hear me? They're signals. They are holy road signs from heaven, yelling, "You are evolving." The old way is now closed. The very things that used to fuel your spirit suddenly leave you hungry. The music, literature, and ideas that once inspired you now seem like echoes of a life you no longer inhabit. This severe unhappiness is the clearest indication that you have graduated from your previous cycle. However, cycles do not break spontaneously. They're comfy, familiar prisons. You must be the one who chooses freedom. You must be the one who stands up, turns the key, and exits the cell. It requires a declaration from the depths of your being. I am done performing for conditional love. I am done dimming my light to make others comfortable. And I am done tolerating anything and anyone who disrespects the sacred spirit within me. You are not meant to repeat the lessons of your past indefinitely. You are intended to ascend. You're supposed to construct. You are expected to move on, particularly when the route ahead is shrouded by fog, because your clarity is not behind you. It is waiting for you in the process of moving forward. You have been apologizing for your depth for years, if not your whole life. You've been told you're too sensitive, too intense, or too emotional. You've spent many minutes carefully toning down your own brilliance, dimming your light so that it doesn't make others uncomfortable. But hear this lesson now and allow it to rewire your whole self-concept. Your sensitivity is not a weakness. It is a well-tuned spiritual instrument. This is your celestial superpower. You don't feel too much. You feel exactly what you should feel because you are spiritually built to detect energies, intents, and realities that others simply disregard. You are a human lie detector and spiritual barometer. You weren't placed here to blend in with the background. You were brought here to cause a disruption. You are the pattern breaker in a long line of dysfunction. You are the one your ancestors hoped for, the one selected to end the cycle of generational weariness and start a new, healthier, more aware legacy. Starting again does not mean arriving empty-handed. No, you approach this fresh beginning with all of your experience. Every tear you shed was a purification for your spiritual perception. Each betrayal you faced taught you the invaluable lesson of self-reliance. Every scar represents a previously won struggle. Every night you lay awake, afraid you wouldn't make it through, you were building an indestructible resilience within yourself. There was no waste. It's all been crushed into the wisdom and power you now have. You've carried burdens that would crush others, and yet you're still here, still standing, still breathing, still searching, still listening to this message. That unwavering determination is not a sign of weakness or folly. It is unmistakable proof of a great mission blazing inside you. So when your life becomes strange and the ground beneath your feet shifts, do not retreat to what you know. Stay present. Breathe through your discomfort. The rich soil in which change takes place is foreign. You were not meant to live a life of constant ease. You were designed to fulfill a certain purpose. A spiritual calling is sometimes veiled as a series of fundamental inconsistencies. It will ask you to go forward when all you want to do is relax. It will need you to trust in a promise, even while your actual world provides no evidence of it. It will need you to forgive those who may never apologize for the profound hurts they caused. But remember this, every time you choose the better route, love over fear, forgiveness over bitterness, and trust over doubt, you are not losing a war. You're achieving cosmic alignment. The universe, God, and the divine do not reward performance or perfection. It reacts to genuine, unadulterated genuineness. This explains why your route is narrowing. This is why you are drawn irresistibly inside, away from the commotion and throng. Because the sacred destination you're headed to is only for the genuine. You can no longer bear the weight of every viewpoint. You cannot accept every invitation that comes your way. This stage of your life needs tremendous discipline, razor-sharp insight, and unwavering divine trust. This is not egoistic hubris that requires confirmation. This is the peaceful, grounded understanding in your spirit that you are precisely where you should be, even if no one else on the earth gets it. If this profound truth is resonating inside your spirit, and you sense the stirrings of divine alignment, take a moment to subscribe to God Wisdom. This is more than just a channel. It's a refuge for souls like yours, a continual reminder that you are not on this precious journey alone. By subscribing, you are proclaiming your commitment to receiving the knowledge that fuels your future. Join our selected family and let us continue on this ascension path together. You do not require a committee to approve your spiritual path. You merely need to follow the signal within. That inner knowledge, gut feeling, or quiet whisper, that is your infallible blueprint. That's your heavenly compass. And that is exactly what this message is intended to emphasize and remind you of. Your inner guiding system is still completely intact. You have not missed your opportunity. You have not failed. You are merely in between. You are poised in the holy space between who you were and the glorious creature you are quickly becoming. You are caught between the life you thought you wanted and the far higher destiny that heaven is now revealing. And the in-between zone, or liminal vacuum, is not empty. It's a womb. It is a sacred incubator, a divine cocoon in which your new, true identity is methodically crafted while shielded from the harsh elements of the outer world. You must allow the shedding to occur. Let the relief come. Grieve what has to be grieved, the relationships, dreams, and versions of yourself that are no longer present. However, do not cling to what has already expired. What is to come next cannot enter your life while your fists remain clasped, clutching onto the lifeless weight of what has already passed. You are not betraying your history by attempting to move ahead. You are honoring it. You are respecting every lesson and every adversity by becoming the powerful, entire person your history was attempting to prepare you for. You were never intended to be a repository for previous wounds and stale energy. You're a conduit. You're a channel. Divine creative energy is intended to flow through you, not become stuck within you. This is the metaphysical reason why you feel heavy and stuck when you are in the wrong place or with the wrong people. It is why resisting your own progress causes anxiety to spike. It is not because you are broken. Rather, your soul is a beautifully tuned instrument that understands the enormous distinction between a life of basic survival and a life of glorious destiny. And now, at this critical juncture, you are being invited to select your fate. For so long, you've been waiting for a sign, a green light, or approval from the outside world. But the ultimate reality is that your spirit knows it's time to move. You have already received the signal. It wasn't a loud shout from the clouds or a sign in the sky. It was a stirring, a modest internal alteration, a mild but irrefutable tug that keeps you moving ahead, even when you don't know where forward is. That's the language of fate. It seldom provides extensive step-by-step directions. It communicates via impulses, intuitive hits, spontaneous drives, and spiritual whispers. Your readiness to believe and obey such subtle urges without requiring a complete explanation affects everything. You've been attempting to make everything make sense in your rational thinking. However, the chosen ones walk by alignment rather than by sense. The people closest to you may not comprehend why you are suddenly separating or why you require more privacy. They may not understand the spiritual urgency you feel, but it isn't their fault. This communication was not directed to them. This message is for you right now, and you feel it in every cell of your body because your spirit is fully awake. You've heard the murmurs. You've noticed the repeated numbers and synchronicities. You've observed the heavenly interruptions that kept you from taking a bad route. None of this is a coincidence. It's heavenly calibration. God is carefully matching you with something that isn't simply a better version of your previous life, but something really sacred. This explains why the pressure has increased. This is why things, people, and circumstances have been breaking free and slipping out of your life. It is not intended to ruin you. Its purpose is to eliminate whatever you cannot take with you to your promised land. Some connections were intended to serve as scaffolding, providing temporary support for a specific chapter rather than becoming permanent fixtures in your life story. Some situations were never intended to accommodate the full scope of your growth. And if you were totally honest with yourself, you would sense this tension developing for a long time. You have outgrown where you are. This is not a result of pride or arrogance, but of the plain fact that your divine calling is dragging you higher. And greater altitudes always mean thinner air. It necessitates a sharper focus, more deliberate decisions, and firmer boundaries. This is why your emotions have been so intense recently. It's not because you're weak, it's because your acute awareness is catching up on the seismic upheaval in the spiritual environment. Heaven doesn't need to yell, it may murmur. Only after the world's cacophony is hushed will you be able to hear its advice clearly. That is the season's purpose, tremendous silence. The silence of doubt, fear, and extraneous viewpoints so that you may finally hear the one voice that truly matters, your own inner truth. And the reality is you are ready, even if you don't feel it. You are ready, even if you are still tormented by self-doubt. You have been selected, even if the world has not yet given you a crown or a title. There is something deeply precious about being misunderstood. It's a spiritual talent. It eliminates the ego's compulsive need for external validation and compels you to base your whole reality on what you know to be true deep down in your soul. And you can't go back. You cannot return to pretending. You can't unsee what you've seen. You can't unknow what you already know. That awareness is a severe responsibility, but it also has tremendous power, because such insight brings a sacred obligation. And selected ones, great spiritual fighters, do not avoid duty. They rose to greet it. They grow to accommodate it. They allow the weight of their vocation to strengthen them rather than break them. You've already gotten through 100% of your toughest days. You've previously gone through fires that were expressly intended to destroy you. So the issue is no longer, can I handle what comes next? The true question, the one that will shape the course of the rest of your life, is, am I willing to believe that I was created for this? Your response, murmured in the silence of your heart, will determine everything. You do not need to be courageous, but you must be obedient. Not to a person or an ideology, but to the divine flow of your own being. Because adhering to that flow provides alignment, and alignment unlocks magical doors that hustling and striving alone cannot. You've traveled too far to turn back now. You have been too committed to your inner calling to give up at the final hurdle. You've given too much of yourself, shed too many tears, and suffered too much heartbreak to let this critical moment pass you by like any other day. This is the divine checkpoint. This marks a turning point. This is a spiritual update that is being downloaded into your being. And like any software upgrade, it necessitates a clean break from the previous operating system, the old ideas, labels, scars, and tales you told yourself. You must let them go. They were just chapters and not the complete book. Recognize that much of your agony was not random retribution, but rather divine pruning. The master gardener carefully removed the dead or useless branches so that the important branches might eventually yield fruit. Pruning does hurt. It feels like a loss. However, it is the necessary prelude to abundance. Your life is going to produce results you never believed were possible. However, there is one non-negotiable requirement. It must no longer be a surface-level existence. You can't fake it anymore. You can't grin through soul-crushing disorder. You can't pretend you're okay when your spirit is yearning for significance. You require depth. You demand genuineness. You require contacts, talks, and experiences that repair and refresh you, not deplete you. To do this, you must learn to defend your serenity as if it were the most precious asset you possessed, which it is. This is the point in the tale that you stop waiting for a hero to come along and save you and realize that you have already been prepared to save yourself, thanks to ever-present divine aid. The knowledge downloads you receive in the shower, the enlightening dreams, and the random thoughts that come to mind were not at all random. They were shards from your divine instruction handbook. They were preparing. The season of preparation is currently meeting the season of activity. You don't need a larger stage. You don't require a round of applause. You require calm, constant obedience. The type of obedience that alters the mood of a room even when no one is there. Real, actual power does not need to be announced. It simply is. It just exists and causes things to change. That's who you are. You are a bearer of tremendous spiritual weight, a disruptor of darkness, and a channel for divine truth. And the moment you stop doubting it and begin living from it, everything changes. So be very careful what you say this season. Your words are more than simply sounds. They are creative energies. Your agreements define your world. Do not curse God for the miracle that is still being built in your life. Don't interpret a heavenly delay as a definitive refusal. You have not yet seen the whole plan. What seems and feels like an uncomfortable wait might be a hallowed time for rigorous preparation. What appears to be deafening stillness from heaven might be the divine's method of bringing you deeper to hear its heartbeat. You are not punished. Rather, you are being positioned. And placement is usually unpleasant just before it feels great. You will lose some folks along the road. Even those you care about will have a terrible misunderstanding of you. At times, you will feel as if you are going blindfolded through a foreign place. But that's okay. You're not blind. You're being guided. And the one leading you sees the entire way in crystal clarity. Trust that you are not going insane. You're not broken. You're not behind schedule. You're being polished. And the process of refining is always painful because its sole aim is to burn away everything that is false, to reveal everything that is weak, until what remains is pure, solid, everlasting, and completely unshakable. Make this the season you finally cease shrinking yourself to fit into rooms you've outgrown. Make today the moment you stop waiting for permission to be powerful. You are prompted to receive this message right now because a vital point in your personal chronology is about to change, and you must be attentive and aware. Nor terrified, nor nervous, just aware. Because awareness provides access to a higher viewpoint, while access grants you the ability to co-create your world. So tomorrow morning, behave as if you've already gotten the miracle you asked for. Walk through your day as if the answer is already on the way. Speak as if the doors have already flung open. Not because you are crazy, but because you are so profoundly connected to divine truth that you see that time is not linear and that your future victory is now a spiritual reality. Every chosen soul's path has a time when quiet becomes sacred. This is not the agonizing stillness of being ignored or abandoned, but rather the sacred silence that falls when heaven itself is watching, waiting to see how you will move without a claim, trust without evidence, and shine without an audience. That is exactly where you are today. You have entered the holy in-between, the hallowed threshold where the previous season has officially finished, but the new one has yet to fully disclose its shape. The ego perceives this area as empty and unsure, although it is far more powerful than you think. It is a wonderful gift because it compels you to become who you were actually created to be, free of all the world's distractions, expectations, and pressures that were continuously tugging you in 1,000 different directions. Things may feel quite confusing right now. You may be wondering, why does everything and everyone feel so different? The world has not changed, but you have. Your perception has grown. Your spiritual awareness is razor sharp. Your tolerance for anything or anybody who is not in alignment with your soul's truth has reached zero. This isn't a breakdown. It is a breakthrough. This is not confusion. It is the first sign of pure clarity after a lifetime of cacophony. You're finally looking beyond the surface of things. You're recognizing the sharp contrast between what just feeds your ego and what truly nurtures your spirit. Don't hurry this moment. Do not try to push clarity to arrive faster. It's not hidden from you. It is blossoming within you at an ideal, divine rate. You are sensing the great rearrangement. The divine is methodically rerouting your path, not because you took a bad turn, but a guarantee that your future is constructed on the solid rock of spiritual harmony rather than the fractured, sandy foundations of survival habits. You are not abandoned. You are trusted. You are entrusted with a profound spiritual power of quiet. You are trusted with quiet. You are trusted to carry a frequency of light and truth that many others cannot see, let alone understand. And while this path might feel isolated at times, it is also the pinnacle of divine closeness. God does not separate the chosen to punish them, but to prepare them. He isolates you so that your frequency is neither diluted or distorted by voices that do not comprehend your purpose. You were created to establish your own path, not to follow in the footsteps of others. You are a frequency setter, paradigm shifter, and creator of new universes. And that heavenly calling carries a tremendous weight, emotional, spiritual, and sometimes even bodily. This is the real reason you've been feeling so exhausted around certain individuals and circumstances. This is why old, shallow discussions have become intolerable. It's why situations you once tolerated now seem physically suffocating. Your entire energy, your auric field, is now actively rejecting everything that no longer aligns with your ascending identity. You're going through a tremendous spiritual detox, and while your physical self may be tempted to cling to the comforts of the familiar, your soul is screaming out for elevation. And without exception, all elevations begin with removal. You may not have all the answers right now, and that is not just okay. It is essential. Faith does not mean the absence of uncertainty. It is a purposeful decision to keep going, trusting, and believing even when you can't see the path ahead. And you keep walking despite your dread and perplexity, because a deep old part of you knows without a doubt that this is not the end. This is the vast unraveling of all that is not true, allowing what is everlasting, real, and divinely designed for you to take its place. You're not being pulled apart. You're being painstakingly put back together. Piece by holy piece. Breathe consciously. Prayer via purposeful prayer. And sure prayer. This is the time when your prayers should shift from pleading to announcing. They must become deliberate, grounded, and forceful. Not theatrical or reactive, but firmly founded in the unshakable notion that the great future that awaits you necessitates a version of yourself that not only speaks about power, but lives it. That's why the shaking is occurring. It is not intended to ruin your foundation, but rather to strengthen it and remove anything that is not actually a part of it. You are being reminded, in the most visceral way, that your stability is not derived from your work, bank account, or the people around you. It stems from your unwavering faith in the Almighty. You have been chosen to bear something with enormous spiritual weight, which is why you are being purified so fully and fiercely. Because the gift you bring, the mission you are here to complete, cannot be tainted by ego, hatred, resentment, or fear. This new phase in your life will demand a pristine vessel. And purity does not imply perfection. It indicates presence. It entails being completely present in your own process, even when it is messy and difficult. It entails abandoning the tight time frames you formerly believed were so crucial and submitting to the great understanding that divine timing is never late. It is always absolutely, breathtakingly accurate. You're not behind. You're not off track. You are being diverted to destiny's hidden door, which requires just heaven's alignment rather than the world's approval. And certainly, your route may appear unorthodox. You'll almost probably be misconstrued. However, the selected ones are always present. Because you weren't meant to fit in. You were meant to stand out, to stand steady, to remain firm in your truth, even if it makes your voice tremble and your knees quake. You've undoubtedly noticed that people are pulling away from you, that the support you previously relied on has become strangely silent, that the vibe in a room changes as you begin to express your honest truth. This is not a rejection. It is a revelation. The cosmos serves as a wonderful filter, revealing with perfect clarity who is ready to accompany you into this magnificent new phase and who, with love and grace, must be left behind. Do not oppose the procedure. Do not go after them. Do not risk diluting your strength or silencing your truth, only to make people feel at ease in your presence. You are not here to blend in with the decor, but to change the vibe of the space. This stage of your path involves bold, uncompromising honesty, not only with others, but most importantly with oneself. What are you still holding on to that you know is no longer compatible with the person you are becoming? What great goal are you frightened to pursue because it may force you to walk alone for a while? What fundamental truths have you silenced in order to maintain a false peace? This is a heavenly permission slip. Let it all out. Speak it. Approach it. Act on it. Become it. You are not simply transitioning. You are ascending. An ascension necessitates altitude adjustments. You cannot soar to the sky while lugging earthly baggage. You must go lightly. You must go with purpose, clarity, and spiritual authority, which has been created within you via fire. Do not simply passively listen to this message. You need to reply to it, not with words alone, but via determined action. Let your decisions from this day forward reflect your great calling. Allow your boundaries to reflect your unlimited value. Allow your quiet to have the same strength and weight as your speech. You are actively becoming what is next, rather than simply preparing for it. You are the answer to a prayer, a solution to a problem, and the source of light in a gloomy environment. Heaven has picked you to fill a particular vacuum in our earth. But just now you must say yes. Even if your voice is shaky, even if your hands shake, even if you're still recovering, even if you do not feel worthy or prepared, say yes. Because obeying is about being willing rather than being ready. And a willing heart will always be rewarded with an outpouring of heavenly strength. Say yes and confirm this important pact in your spirit. Consider this your statement of freedom from your past. Say yes and let things change. Affirm this commitment in your heart and in your actions. And if you haven't already, subscribe to God Wisdom, making it the foundation of your new beginning, a source of truth for the strong, bright, and glorious road that lies ahead. Say yes.